get too close, I just go mess it up.
Gracie Abrams. Hey. Do you know when you'll finally get to play in front of a big live audience yet?
Oh, dude, festivals here are going up. And so I still haven't played a show, but to see my name on those posters feels like a big joke because I'm like, there's no way. But apparently there is a way.
Hey, living proof of it. Yeah, because I feel like there's been so much buzz around you since your minor project came out last year. And yet you haven't gotten to feel that feedback in real life yet.
No, not at all. I came sort of close doing shows through Zoom in my bedroom, but that's definitely the closest thing. I love that though so much. So fingers crossed it translates in person.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Do you feel like you're a natural performer, or is it something that you think comes with experience and practice then?
I hope that I love it. I feel like I am very naturally inclined to just play my songs because I do it all day long. So, and knowing my audience to the degree that I do, I feel very safe with them. So I think it'll be a comfortable environment. I hope. I also could fully puke on stage. It might happen. We don't know.
Yeah. If that happens, you just got to roll with it. Just call it improv. Yeah. Say yes.
Exactly. I'm like, no, I planned this.
I'm sure there'd be those people in the front row being like, yes, Gracie puked on me.
Yes. Exactly.
I'm never watching myself.
Oh God, dark.
You're gross. All right, yeah, you've got some insane fans. I mean, even you have Billie Eilish, Lorde, Olivia Rodrigo is your fans. Crazy.
I'm bigger fans of all of them, I swear.
Yeah, fair. Well, it's good to start as fan first, friend second. Do you think there'll be a collaboration on the horizon with any of those three? Has there been talks? Have they reached out?
Oh God, I don't know. I can only hope. I mean, they are all unbelievable forces, all of them. I just think it's so cool watching Olivia specifically just this past year. It's crazy. I'm so relieved that people are receptive to young female songwriters. To me, it's such a relief, frankly. But obviously, the three of them, superstars, all of them.
Yeah, it is such a relief. And for Australia at the moment, we're going through a massive Me Too movement in the music industry, and super necessary. And I'm curious if you ever had reservations as a young woman going into music, and particularly when it comes to inking a big label deal and stuff.
I think whether it's in the music industry or anywhere, all workplaces are poisoned by abuses of power. So for sure, being a young woman and being vulnerable around more experienced people in any industry, I think that we are literally wired, unfortunately, to have that caution in the back of our heads to a degree. I feel really lucky to have not experienced anything of the sort in this industry so far. I obviously keep my fingers very crossed that stays that way. And I also am super lucky to be working with people that I do trust. And so many of the people that I work with are women that I look up to so much, and to feel protected in that way just by being heard and seen by women who have been in this industry longer than I have by a very large margin. I think I'm very lucky. It's obviously not the experience that a ton of people have, but I feel super blessed to be able to say that I've felt safe so far.
I kind of hate that though, that women have to feel lucky to feel that being safe is such a good thing. You're oh man, blessed to be safe. Oh
yeah, I think that's everywhere. I think that's very much everywhere. I think yeah, Yeah. I'm glad that it's a conversation over there right now, though. That must feel obviously incredibly hard to have stories that are so real. And yeah, I think often, like, when the Me Too movement here was the center of every conversation, I just, personally, and for so many women in my life, it can be also a super triggering time to have to see it everywhere. But it's so important for there to be space for these stories and for people to be held accountable. I think it's very long overdue.
Absolutely. You touched on the female people in your team, and I know you've worked with the Aussie powerhouse Sarah Aarons on 21. She's insane. And was that with Joel Little as well? Was that in the same room?
Yeah, that was our first session we ever did together. Yeah.
That's hectic. Have you been in the room with other female co-writes or producers recently?
Yeah, today I was in with Sasha Sloan, who I've been a fan of. Just like, her artist stuff is unbelievable, but she's like such a sick writer. And I was actually with her for 2 days this past week, but it was my first time meeting her. And the feeling, like, it really is so, I love working with everyone that I've gotten to work with. It is like such a crazy gift to be in any room with anyone, truly, because I am just such a fan of everybody that I've ever gotten to work with. But writing with women is just, like, obviously different, because there is a kind of different understanding of certain feelings and situations, relationship wise, whatever, to be able to, like, feel 10 times more immediately open than I often do when I'm working with guys, which is definitely no one's fault. I think it's just the way that it goes sometimes. But Sasha's amazing, and I got to work with Julia Michaels earlier this year. And I've been such a huge fan of hers since forever. And so I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky.
I did read somewhere that when you listen to Julia Michaels songs, it helps you get out of writer's block.
Yeah, I think she's so her, like, cadence with melody is really different, and it helps me. It almost sometimes feels like listening to a different genre of music entirely, because it just pushes my brain to, like, think about certain elements of songs differently. She's a genius. I don't know. Sarah, Sasha, and Julia are all, like, masterminds. It's almost offensive.
Put yourself in that list.
No, God, no.
I know that you're a big journaler, which must be feeding into your craft and also your mental health. What's your journaling process? What does that look like?
It definitely, there are phases of it. I sometimes will, like, the longest I'll go sometimes without journaling is like a month, and I will then remember, like, how much better I feel when I'm consistent with the practice. And I always, like, laugh anytime I read my journal back, because the first time I write when it's been a while is literally me being so, like, almost, like, annoyingly grammatically correct, because I'm, like, forcing myself, and it's so, like, mechanic and, like, robotic and just not me. And then I just kind of, it's a very stream of consciousness thing. But I also, like, there have been times where I've made, like, super absurd lists of things because I've wanted to remember, or, like, written down playlists for some reason on paper rather than just on Spotify like a normal person. I am crazy, but it is my safe place for sure. And I bring my journal to sessions mostly, and I was with my boyfriend and collaborator Blake Stockin, and that it was just open to lyrics on the table, and he was, like, reading the lyrics, and I've been dating him for 5 years, and I, like, swiped the journal away. I was like, what are you looking at? It was obviously just our song, but I'm, like, crazy.
Oh no, that's fine. I don't think that's crazy at all. It's good to have that sort of cathartic outlet somewhere. I feel like I put too many parameters down when I journal. Like I'm like, it must be a neat page, can't skip lines, must do double side, like things like that. I'm like, no.
That's honestly, I wish that were my way.
No.
I'm jealous of you.
No, you don't. This sounds way more fun. Do you feel like your creative process has changed since you moved back in with your family through COVID?
Yeah, I think just I don't necessarily know if it's because I've been back here or just because of like life and growing up a little bit more and having new feelings in general. But I when I was in high school, I definitely wrote a lot quicker. Like I was less thoughtful sometimes about what I was writing about. Like it was easier for me to, if I wanted, write about experiences that were not actively happening. And now I think because as I've gotten older, my anxiety has also gotten a lot more severe, that like I do catch myself sometimes in ways that frustrate me, and then I have to like shake it off, but like overthinking what I'm saying and being sometimes really angry with myself if I write something that I feel isn't good, rather than just being like, okay, this is a song that is fine, but it's not something I want to put out, on to the next, rather than being like, I just wrote this song, I'm so frustrated that it's not good. Like my songwriting has definitely changed because my attention to detail has like intensified a lot in ways that sometimes are beneficial and sometimes like super self-destructive, I think.
Do you think that intensifying or that intensity has come from having an audience now?
You could be on to something. I've never thought about it like that, but that's very possible. I whenever I have tried to like analyze the reason for that shift, it's always kind of like come back to just being aware that like for some reason I have more anxiety as more of an adult person than I did as a high schooler, which, you know, is what it is when we work through it. But
yeah, no, that's fair enough. I want to quickly touch on your music video for Mess It Up. I know that you are a big fan of incorporating Easter eggs into music videos. Should we be keeping an eye out on this one?
Sure. Sure.
I was sitting there like scrolling super slow, being like, what's in the background? What's on that thing?
That's so funny. I was laughing so hard because there were letters, like magnets from the fridge that fall off at some point. And I like try not to read comments in general because, again, like my anxiety is like claws out, but it was so funny, people trying to like decipher what the letters were, and some
lyrics,
people were
yeah.
But some people, and it made me literally cry laughing, were like trying to piece together any possible combination of the letters to make like the most random words of all time, which I'm like, props to them. I definitely don't have that much patience, like at all, but yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Okay, well, I'll rewatch it. Last question. What's coming up next for you then? What's on the horizon? When's the next body work?
Soon, I hope. I have been writing so much that it makes me so painfully excited and nervous, which is like my favorite feeling in the world. So I'm just so ready for people to hear it and to play it live. I think that the music that I'm putting out this year is going to make my show a lot less weepy. So I'm definitely looking forward to that variety for sure.
Hell yeah. Gracie, it's so nice to chat to you, and you're only at the beginning, man. I can't wait to watch it.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for having me.